It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Panther Tracks TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine. Indeed, we are not some cheap Coruscant imitation with ruby wax of all people. Tony Gilroy, back in your box. Imagine coming up with the concept of a Good Morning Star Wars show that's Imperial loving and getting ruby wax. That's who you've chosen to play me. Oh, I'm ashamed. I'm your host, Brian Cameron. With me, as always, Paul Naylor. Paul, were you equally as disgusted with this week's Andor?
I was, but my internet connection is playing up, so we may be as poor as that program. Who knows?
That's good. That's good. The
Before I
we'll blame
Konnichiwa.
We'll blame Cyril's mum, who equally disturbing. I took a screen caps of the show, and I got a screen cap with the caption underneath, "Mother, you're dripping." So it's just been a disturbing time period.
Oh dear, no.
Rob's in the chat. Rob was out in Japan as well. So we saw
Hey,
Rob out there. He came and saw us GMT live on the Holocaust, the Holocaust stage. The show's getting worse. This is a cheap Coruscant imitation.
Hang on. Is that ruby wax? Could you come and help us out, please?
Oh, I'm going to have to confess at this moment, I'm on painkillers at the moment, so tonight could go wild. Anything could come out my mouth. This could be the end of us, Paul.
Oh dear. Well, it's been good.
It's been a good run. We've had it fair. As Mark is saying here, oh my God, Brian, what's happening? It's all gone wrong. It's all gone tragically wrong.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. As long as Bix is tuning in, that's why I say, she's equally as drugged up as I am, and she's an avid watcher.
Oh dear me.
Should we keep digging a hole?
Sorry, pal?
Should we keep digging a hole?
What?
Or should we move on and find out what's coming up on tonight's show?
Oh dear.
Paul's frozen at the perfect opportune moment.
Oh dear.
Let's go on tonight's show. First up, we're going to be talking Ryan Gosling starring in a new Star Wars film called Star Wars Starfighter.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, hang on. I've disappeared. I'm back. Celebration Japan, the Mandalorian and Grogu. Let's find out a bit about that.
Also from Celebration, we heard a little bit about Ahsoka. We'll be discussing that.
And then, of course, Andor, a Star Wars story, interview for Genevieve O'Reilly and Faye Marseille. Oh, blimey, we've got all these interviews going on.
Yeah, Mr. Newball's been doing the press junkets for us for Andor. More news comes from Celebration. Maul, Shadow Lord, we'll be discussing that.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. And then we've got the Young Jedi Adventures. Oh, you can't beat a bit of nubs. Come on.
I've got stories about nubs. He snubbed me. Celebrate Star Wars on MetaQuest as well. We'll be checking out a trailer from ILM for all their MetaQuest content.
Excellent. And then the Star Wars Outlaws, which I believe we've got a trailer for that as well. So if you haven't already seen it, that looks pretty cool.
Big update to that game coming out on May 15th.
Yep.
And the next big Star Wars video game is going to be Star Wars Zero Squadron. We've got the announcement trailer for that. It's coming next year.
Superb. And then we've got the Art of Star Wars: A New Hope. Now, this is a crowd-funded project, I believe, Brian, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. Also coming up, we've got Star Wars Monopoly Go, which is just released. And we've got the trailer for that.
You can't beat Star Wars Monopoly. I remember the one from back in the day. It was fantastic. Fortnite Galactic Battle cinematic trailer. Fantastic.
Yeah, I saw Emperor Palpatine dancing today.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Is this the meds again?
This is from
on?
Fortnite. Honestly, it's not the drugs. What's the girl, the American girl that's now popular? Musician.
Taylor Swift.
No, keep going. The one that says, "Have you tried this one before?" And she does a sexual position.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No, I'm
don't
way
know.
too old for
Someone in the chat, Mark Newbold, you're the fact checker. You should be jumping in here. That's enough discussion. I saw the Emperor Palpatine dancing to one of her tunes today in Fortnite. That's a new low for Star Wars. There we go. Rob Galt's there. Sabrina Carpenter. See, that was a good enough description. Someone knew it.
I'll take you back. Rob's our resident pervert. There we go.
Yeah, keeping us right in the chat. He can't spell, Mark. Like Sabrina Carpenter. That's not good enough. Improve on that.
Okay.
And the Lost Showrunner, Carlton Cuse, and his son Nick are also developing a Star Wars TV project. And last but not least, Dark Horse Comics have announced Tales from the Nightlands, their Halloween comic for this year as well, Paul. So we've got loads of news to discuss. And we should probably get stuck into it, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Hopefully my internet holds out. I don't look too much like Max Headroom, so that should be good. Yeah.
Has it worked enough? Let's jump back to the main screen. Has it worked enough that you've been able to check out the first few episodes of Andor?
Oh yes. No, this is just a problem. I've moved back into my office this week, and I should stay back out in the conservatory clearly. But no, I've seen the first 6 episodes of Andor now. So yeah, enjoying it. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's been a slow burn, but it's been good.
Yeah.
I've been sharing in the understanding of having sex dreams about Dr. Gorst. We've all had them over the last year. We've been waiting for season 2. But yeah, it's been good. But we're going to keep our thoughts probably on Andor to a reasonable level over the next few weeks, because we're going to let the whole season play out, and we're going to do our recaps after everyone's had the chance to consume the season.
Yeah, give it a bit of breathing space. Yeah,
a little bit of breathing space, because there are a lot of episodes to get through in a week. And I actually thought I'd watched all of this week's episodes, and then I was on social media and people were chatting about a certain character that dies, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then I realised there's a whole episode I hadn't watched. So
well, my Disney Plus went from episode 4. It said play next episode, and it took me to episode 6. But luckily, I started watching the recap at the start and thought, I don't remember any of this. And yeah, that's doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work. First up in the news front, out of celebration came the news that Ryan Gosling's to star in Star Wars Starfighter, the new film from director Sean Levy, that we've kind of been speaking about for a little while. We kind of had the inkling that Sean Levy was working on something. We didn't know what it was. And we'd had the news that Ryan Gosling was going to star in it. We now know it's going to be out on May the 28th, 2027.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that being the one for the 50th anniversary. I think I'd have preferred something more episodic than a single sort of one-hit wonder, But who knows? I mean, if it's received really well, it might take off into its own thing. It might become the part of a new series of films. But I mean, we'd all heard the rumors about Ryan Gosling, so it wasn't a massive surprise, was it?
No, not at all. Carlos there in the chat on YouTube. Good evening to you as well over in San
Hello,
Diego.
Carl. That's a long time.
The one thing I guess about the Gosling project, I don't like the name.
No,
You've already got Star Wars in it. You don't need another Starfighter in it. It could have been
and
Star Wars, whatever, Squadron or something else. Or
that font looks rubbish.
Yeah.
Really does.
But it definitely gives you the inkling that it's something that could go from a film into a TV series, not with with Gosling
absolutely.
necessarily star and role, but perhaps one of the pilots maybe TV worthy.
Yeah. Maybe he gets killed off in the film, but we've got these other characters. Yeah, that'd be good.
But it's good that they're bringing in just really ugly actors like Ryan Gosling, instead of these good-looking guys as well,
Yeah. I wonder if they make action figures, whether they'll be made by Ken.
Oh, yes, very good.
Oh, dear. Sorry about that.
I know. We can check out a little clip from Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling, who didn't say much on stage, but said a lot more behind the scenes at Celebration. So we've got a little clip from behind the scenes.
I had an idea, and I started working with Jonathan Tropper, the screenwriter. But around that time, Ryan and I got to know each other a bit, and thus began some conversations, some dinners, some Zooms, and we started talking about, well, what do we want a Star Wars movie to be? And so it was just this sort of, for me, beautiful experience of baking into this script this guy, who for me is a dream come true in any movie. But my God, Ryan Gosling in a Star Wars movie, I can't imagine anything cooler. And so the script we have is really, it's like a transfusion from both of us. So it's got both our creative blood flowing in this story.
You got really specific there. I was told this was a generic interview.
Damn it! I know. Okay.
I didn't realize we were getting specific.
At least I warned people that I am the spoiler problem. But it's not like, oh, the script was perfect and then, oh, Ryan Gosling. No, like, this really got baked by both of us. And I've loved that process.
You don't have to.
Do you want to leave so you don't rush too much?
It's because I'm blonde.
Well, that helps. The blonde helps.
Yeah.
Because, Luke was blonde too. And look how that worked out.
Pretty much,
That worked out.
And Hayden.
And Hayden was
And that's
blonde.
it.
Yeah. So mostly hair color. And second would be profound talent. And third would be ineffably cool in ways I can't articulate.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Is he a good pick?
Is that danger when it's somebody that's very well known like Ryan, that I think the expectations go up a level, don't they? The beauty of the original Star Wars back in '77 was that, other than a bit of TV.
Oh, and we've lost Paul, it looks like.
I think that helped.
You're cutting in and out, I'm afraid, Paul. There we go.
Am I back?
You're back. You're back like magic.
I'm back.
Yeah, so Ryan Gosling, I'm not convinced by, but Sean Levy, I think, has come up with some good projects. Not convinced by his very fluffy jumper.
No, very fluffy. Yeah.
Very fluffy. These are the things that are important,
Bet you like.
I know. Also coming out Celebration Japan, we had the Mandalorian and Grogu had a panel where we didn't really learn too much anything new. We learned that Sigourney Weaver has been cast. Didn't find out who her character was, but we learned that she's going to be hiring the Mandalorian to do a job for the New Republic.
I think the main thing that we learned was that Pedro has got awful tasting clothes.
Terrible tasting clothes, that's for sure.
I thought they were going to do another live action Pinocchio, and he was playing Geppetto. Unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. As Matt said, I'm assuming he's talking about Sean Levy's jumpers. Too cuddly for me. Although
Pedro?
Something that wasn't too cuddly for Matt, because Matt loved these, because we met these at the Disney park.
At Disneyland that decided to come.
Was these little droids that came out on the stage at Celebrations, part of the Mandalorian and Grogu panel.
On, we got some new faces in the show.
Oh my God!
Horrendous, Paul. Horrendous.
How's it go?
Why would
Everyone's
you bring
getting worked
droids on the stage?
Oh, I'm only surprised you didn't run up there and drop kick one.
I reckon I could have launched it into the top tier of the crowd.
There you go.
Here, you want to bow? Bow to the audience.
Say hello.
But yeah, that was kind of the big reveal for the Mandalorian Grogu panel, really, which was kind of weird. They did release, I guess you would call it a trailer, but they didn't release it to the public. A lot of it, elements that we'd kind of seen before. We got like a long scene inside an AT-AT, and that's how you say it, AT-AT. Which was kind of cool, which was kind of really nicely done. And a lot of action scenes on a planet very reminiscent of Hoth. But as in all snow planets all look the same. I like Carlos's idea of Grogu turning into alien. That would be cool. And as Mark says, if there was a screen draw of Matt and the BDX droids, it would say, "Matt, you're dripping." Matt's right. It wasn't really a trailer, just an action scene. I think that's the best way to describe it. Which I'm always disappointed at Celebration when they do this and make it exclusive to the room kind of thing. It's like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll never get that. But that was the Mandalorian Grogu. It was kind of a disappointing panel. I actually thought there was a really weird atmosphere in the room. That Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy seemed really unprepared. You could tell they were really reading off a auto cue. And there wasn't a buzz in the room. I didn't feel like you would expect it other celebrations. And it really improved the following day for Andor and Ahsoka. But day one, it was weird. I didn't know what to make of it.
I mean, I was saying to you before we came on air, Brian, from the stuff that I saw from various people, photos and videos, Rob, who's on the line tonight, the stuff that was coming through from you guys at Fantha, and Neil Livesey as well from Star Wars Fun Days, the stuff that was coming through that was coverage of actual things going on in Japan was way more interesting and exciting than anything about Celebration. It did seem quite a weak event.
It wasn't the strongest celebration, that's for sure. There was elements of it, mainly the store for me, which was abysmally organized, like really badly organized. And for the people that had to queue for panels and so on, I can imagine your 3 days were just taken up standing in queues, and it would have been quite frustrating. If you avoided the store, you avoided the panels, you could probably have quite a good time out in the show floor. There was a lot of really nice stands, and I wish I'd been able to spend more time out there, to be honest. But I just didn't have the time. And but as you say, it was like the rest of the trip to Japan was probably the highlight for me. Although everywhere we went, we kept meeting Star Wars fans, just like everywhere.
What a coincidence!
Rob saying the best time he had was at the ILM panels, obviously other than GMT, which Rob was also at. He means.
But I wasn't there.
But so. I can imagine like the really in-depth, interesting panels like the ILM ones would have been fascinating as well. Matt's kind of agreeing. Andor was a way better buzz. Definitely, there was a really great atmosphere for the Andor panel. The store was a nightmare. And he knows Brits like queues, but still, that was weird. 3 days were too short. I kind of agree. It should have been a 4-day show, but then I didn't feel like they had the content necessarily for 4 days.
I don't think they had the contact with Brian.
I think you could almost say that every announcement at the show, major announcement, had been announced or known of before Celebration, which was kind of a little bit sad, but
I suppose apart from Darth Maul, that was
definitely. I think that was perhaps the big surprise. A 4th day would have been good. I think a 4th day would have just helped with the queues, would have helped with the getting around the event, I think.
Yeah, they really need to sort that merchandising.
And as Matt says, he gave up with the store years ago. Absolute waste of time. They don't learn. And the solutions are so basic. It's like, why have 20 different T-shirts and have it all based in the one queue? Why not have 20 different T-shirts dotted around and different stands around the whole venue? You know, it's
Yeah. I was talking with Mark Newbold and Richard Mitchell earlier, and they were saying that there was at least one incident of somebody
Rob's
queuing
just
for 7
correcting
hours.
there. Oh, the Good Morning Tatooine panel was the absolute highlight. There you go. See, that's the right answer. We're kind of going to skip over the Andor panel because a lot of the Andor panels are kind of covered by the fact that the episodes are now started coming out. But let's talk Ahsoka, because we got the confirmation that Rory McCann was taking on the mantle of playing Baylan Skoll, and we got to see him in costume, which I was kind of glad. He had the look of Baylan Skoll without diminishing the fact that Rory's taking on the role either. It definitely had a look of Rory about him as well.
Yes, yeah.
And I've got a little clip from the panel of Dave Filoni as well, because I thought Dave spoke really, really well. As much as I criticised him for the Mandalorian panel on day one, he was really on fire for the Ahsoka panel on day two. And let's hear from him.
I never dreamed of doing live action until I worked with George. I didn't think it was something that was obtainable. But George changed that for me by the way he taught me, and he made it become something that was perhaps obtainable. All I had to do was be brave enough to try something different, something I'd never done, a medium that I didn't know, and break out of my regular thing. And that's when I always say, George, just say, dare to be great. You must seize the moment in front of you. Don't wait. Don't wait for a time. Don't think it's going to happen later. Make it happen now if it's something you want to do. And that's what I'd recommend to young people. When you say, what is Ahsoka about? Ahsoka is about hope. She's about training. She's about discipline. But she works hard to make all these things happen. That's what a Jedi is. They give you positivity. They give you optimism. That's what they are in the galaxy. And that's what George gave to me. And hopefully that these shows can give to you.
So that was Dave Filoni. He got very emotional as well during the panel, talking about having to recast Baylan Skoll and how big an impact that had on him as well. So it was a tough watch and a tough listen at times as well. And as Mark's saying there, I'm getting choked up about the late Ray Stevenson as well. So that it was tough, but you also had the highlight of Dave Filoni when he's on fire and he was talking about the Loth kittens, which were the big balls of fluff that they've come up with that are going to sell lots and lots of merchandise and pay for the series. So it was good. We talked a little bit about Andor and the fact it's on air, and we're going to be talking about it after it's finished airing. But also in the meantime, I'm going to remind you, check out the show notes for the link. Mr. Mark Newbold, who's in the comments, has been at the junket in the UK, the press junket in the UK, doing interviews. Amongst them, Genevieve O'Reilly, Faye Marzi, also the actress who plays Dedra Meada, whose name has slipped my mind for 2 seconds, not Claire Henry.
I can't think of it. Claire Henry, yeah. Just
someone help me out in the comments. And Ben Mendelsohn as well. So there's some really good interviews up on Fanta Tracks TV on YouTube as well, so check them out. And Mark's just reminded me, it is Denise Goff. That's why he gets to do the interviews and I don't. So I don't say to them, what's your name again? And as Mark's saying about the fireballs, they finally found their tribbles. So yeah.
They have. Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. We've talked as well already about Maul Shadowlord. That being probably a surprise and highlight for many people from the whole of Celebration. I think a lot of people are a big fan of the character of Maul. Again, the trailer getting kept secret, which just mind-blowing for me. How do you promote a product and not release the content? Just doesn't make sense. I don't think anyone attending these conventions expects these things to be show exclusive. Maybe give it 24 hours, 48 hours a week, but put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Stick a timing thing on it.
I don't think anyone at a show expects I got to see this and you didn't, ha ha ha. Although I'll do that now to you, Paul. I got to see that. Mark went along at the animation panel. He thought it was fantastic as well. And the Maul announcement, a brilliant surprise. We can check out a little Lucasfilm Animation released trailer, I guess you would call it, or promo that released as well.
My first semester at USC, I had one production class, which was animation, and I made an animated movie, and I realized that, hey, I love this.
In 2005, George Lucas established Lucasfilm Animation. My job was to create a TV series called Clone Wars. George would say all the time, dare to be great. Really wraps into do or do not, there is no try. George was asking us to do things that were years and years away by any standard. We were going to use CG to make this series. He taught me to tell a story using his previs technology. He would describe scenes and staging. You have to figure out how to do it and keep challenging yourself, and eventually you work hard, you'll start to see the results.
I'm Ahsoka. Master Yoda sent me.
George was a master of this build-up of excitement, build-up of ownership by fans and families to say, we want to be a part of this, we want to engage with this. And we work to continue that legacy.
Hello, Master. It's been a while.
Not going to play the whole thing because it goes on for a few minutes, but you get the gist. It was a really nice tribute to everything Star Wars animation. It goes through all the years. And a nice little tribute in there as well to George Lucas. And before I move on to speak about George Lucas, Jack reminds me of the Ahsoka Season 2 trailer. Again, it wasn't shown to the world. And it was kind of a Dave Filoni Easter egg, and it was a tribute to the Empire Strikes Back trailer of many years ago. And it revealed nothing other than 2 or 3 pencil drawings of the father and the kids or whatever from the animation series. I don't know what they are because they haven't been explained to me in the live action. But you know, the statues in the mountain basically from the end of season 1. So you got nothing new, revealed absolutely nothing new. And it was just a lovely tribute to something that just a classic Star Wars trailer. And why would you not put it out there? Because it was amusing. Anyway, back to the animation panel and that tribute to George Lucas. I'm going to fast forward a bit as well because we're going to talk about the closing ceremony. And the next celebration is going to be in LA. You could not pick a worse place for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars than LA. Where's the one city in the world that George Lucas hated and wanted to be the furthest place from? He didn't want to be in LA. He hated Hollywood. That's why everything is in San Francisco. Why would you, for the 50th anniversary, take it to the place that George Lucas hates? Because you've got to assume they're going to invite George Lucas to celebration for the 50th anniversary. George is going to go, where is it? Oh, we're doing it in LA. Jesus. You know what I mean? Just, come on. Who thought that one up? Like, idiots. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, mate.
Just a nice comment here from Jonathan. He met Rosario Dawson at Comic-Con Liverpool yesterday. Lucky to have the first photo session thanks to a helpful staff member who said Rosario was still in her 40s, so I got to meet her. She was absolutely lovely. She gave me a hug and I got talking with her. I was the last person to see her at that time. So happy. Nice one, Jonathan. That's excellent. I'd love it when a talent is able to spend a bit of time with people as well, and it becomes a little bit more of a experience as well. Carlos chiming in as well, not just LA but downtown LA. Yep, 100%. The just why would you do that? Why would you take Star Wars to LA? That's just such a Disney boardroom decision, that one. Idiots, that's all I'm saying. Absolute idiots. Talking of idiots, a terrible thing happened at Star Wars Celebration, Paul. Nubs. You had the opportunity to meet Nubs. in the Star Wars kids area at specific times throughout the event, and I thought, I'm going to go and get my photo taken with Nubs, and was told the queue's too long and they're going to let the kids go before the adults. Ageist.
That's disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Yeah.
Did you eventually get a hug or not?
Didn't get a hug. And I won't be watching season 3. We can watch the trailer for season 3 just now, but I won't be tuning in, that's for sure.
For light and light.
For light and light. Let's go.
So season 3 is coming this fall. I won't be watching because treated badly by Nubs and co. Terrible.
It's not really aimed at us. I don't think it's not aimed at us.
Yeah, as Carlos says, it should be renamed Snubs. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Rob's not going to LA. I'm not going in either. Not just because it's a shockingly terrible pick. Whoever thought of it? It's the worst week in the year possibly for me, so I won't be there. But yeah, there we go. Jack's highlight of celebration was meeting me on day one. His presence alone made me nervous during my panel, but I got his nod of approval. I'm not sure I was nodding at you, Jack, or whether I was nodding at the two very beautiful Imperial air hostesses next to me.
Well, at least he wasn't doing what I did a couple of celebrations ago, where I was nodding off.
Yeah, you fell asleep during a panel. Terrible. Shocking. I still have the video of that somewhere. I'm bitter. I am bitter. I got snubbed by Nubs. It's just like shocking. Big Kev pointing out, I won't be allowed in the country by then anyway. That's a very good point. I don't think America would have me anymore. I'm gonna wait until Star Wars is in one of the southern states. I'll still be allowed there. And as Mr. Newbold, the air hostess stewardesses were very distracting. That's very true. Jack's panel was great as well. Yep, lots of comments for that as well. So that was a day one panel as well. Managed to get to after the main show panel. You've got to be ported to be deported. There you go. Well, there we go. Why don't they do Star Wars in Texas? It would be awesome. I'd go for that.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can't go to Celebration like me, perhaps you can attend in a virtual reality world, Paul. What a slick link that is to Star Wars and MetaQuest. ILM had a huge stand there showing off all their MetaQuest games, in fact, but really promoting Beyond Victory, a new mixed reality playset that they've got coming out. And we can check out a little trailer for that as well. Full of trailers tonight.
Pod racing. It is truly a dangerous sport.
Saw you working on your pod last night. Can it race?
Yeah, winning races is sort of my thing.
The Force is more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Follow me and I will instruct you in its ways.
Incredible, Captain. How are you doing that?
Hey kid, question for you. How are you with top secret stuff?
So that is Star Wars and MetaQuest. Matt Booker, who's in the comments, was actually got to play the game when we were out there, and as he described it, mediocre at best. I think it was kind of like a backward step on the first two, the Tales game and the Vader Immortal game. This one felt less polished and less necessary as a VR game, really. It was like pod racing. Why not just have it on a controller? I didn't quite get it. So, yeah, not sure that that's going to be a success. I don't think anyone has got virtual reality kind of figured out, Paul.
No, it's still kind of in its infancy, I suppose. But I remember having to go on Vader Immortal. That was reasonably impressive, but there's nothing in there that makes me go, "Ooh, I must rush out and get a VR headset."
Dear. Someone's given us a downward like, a dislike, and I've just called them out for it. Who did that? What terrible person. Oh, they didn't like my jokes. Dear me.
It was me!
Oh, dear. People, sort that out. Give us some likes on all platforms. Come on. Star Wars Outlaws, A Pirate's Fortune is the second story pack coming to Star Wars Outlaws. And we've got the reveal trailer. It's coming out May 15th because they are not into this May 4th malarkey, which I object to. So we can play the trailer for that as well.
You? I am the great Captain Hondo Onaka.
Do you have a crew coming to break you out?
I am in between crews right now.
Right.
The great Debbie treasure. Split it all. With the finder's fee, of course.
I think we're moving more towards equal shares.
You sound like those raiders. I had to cut them loose. They were not happy.
Coordinates are set.
It's you against us, Hondo.
Your fortune is for you to seize. It is time we made our move.
You good, Hondo?
Better than good, my dear. You want riches, you want fame. You don't get the treasure without taking the risk.
So available May 15th. That's the game that Hondo actor was talking about that he didn't work on. He didn't really know what it was. Big Kev reminded me that the highlight of the VR experience at Celebration was they had seating, so we could all get a little seat. They also had free comic books. It was great. As Matt also making the point that Vader Immortal was awesome. It really was. It was it was a strange one. I didn't get MetaQuest. Excited to see what's coming next from Star Wars Outlaws. I quite enjoy that game. And the limited time that I've spent playing it, I think it's good quality. It's not getting the traction it doesn't feel from the general public, though, which is a bit of a shame.
You know, I go back to my comments when it first came out, is that I think it should always have had either a male or female playable character.
Yep, 100%. There's no reason why you need to stick with one character. I know they're trying to create a canon story, but stuff that. Even you go back to, I always compare things to Skyrim, which I take as being the ultimate open world game, and I still play it. How many years? 10 plus years on. Still holds up as well. You can start the game as any character you want, male, female, human, mix of aliens, whatever. It's and that's how it should be. And the game, the storyline slightly adjusts based on your selections. And wouldn't have been hard to do.
Yeah, this is them finally relenting to that, because I think that's been, criticised by a number of people. So I think that this will help. This will help to give it the traction it needs.
Yeah, definitely. Next up on the game front is the trailers keep coming out of Celebration. Star Wars Zero Squadron was announced. They kind of announced it just before Celebration, weirdly enough, and revealed it all at Celebration. It's going to be a turn-based tactics game, which really deflated everybody, I think. It's not necessarily the kind of game that people are wanting or expecting. But we can check out the trailer and we'll see what you think afterwards, Paul.
Let's have a look.
When people talk about the Clone Wars, they talk about the big moments, the crisis points, planetary invasions, all-out assaults, cities bombed to rubble. Truth is, there's a war you don't see. The one fought in the shadows, the war beneath the war. A war that's won with the right strategy. Surveillance, ciphers, good old-fashioned sabotage. These aren't the heroes they tell stories about. They're professionals. Setting aside their differences to take on the impossible. But that's the job, and they get it done.
I think Big Kev probably nails it here in terms of my thoughts as well. They had the best poster, it's the best looking concept, nice idea, really nice mix of a group of characters. Turn-based play, who cares?
Do you know what immediately springs to mind? It's like the Star Wars equivalent of the A-Team. That's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah. You could have made it a really interesting game, and I think the fact that you're going to dumb down the graphics and make it turn-based play is going to make it kind of a little bit naff for 2026.
Yeah. I suppose it's the sort of thing that could eventually develop into an animation project, though.
True. Something that I, spoke about quite a bit about the Clone Wars in that trailer, and it's something I never realized until I was watching the original Star Wars this morning because I was in a lot of pain in my bed and looking for something that I had on my phone I could watch other than filth, and I found Star Wars: A New Hope, and I was watching it. And I noticed that Luke's speaking with Ben Kenobi, and Ben's telling him about his father was a pilot in the Clone Wars, and Luke's saying, "No, that's not true. That's not what my parents told me. My father was a navigator on a spice frigate." And I'm like, that's it's like Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen's cover story so Luke wouldn't follow the dreams of becoming a pilot, was to tell them that his dad was a drug smuggler.
Which also meant that he was a pilot. Well, yeah.
Shocking, like just terrible. Oh, don't. No, he wasn't a pilot during the Clone Wars. He wasn't a hero to the galaxy. He was a drug smuggler.
You don't know
what
about
kind
it.
of parenting's that?
They were doing their best under difficult circumstances.
Yeah. Carlos calling it here as well, I think. Seems like leftover concepts from Bad Batch. It does feel a little bit like that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I've been having Saw Gerrera's Ruthenium again. Probably. Next up on the news, let's get away from games for a little bit. Let's talk comics. And The Art of Star Wars: A New Hope, the manga by Hisawa Tamaki. This is the 1997 manga adaptation that Dark Horse did back in the days of A New Hope. Includes a new English translation, which basically means that the first translation was really poor. The only reason to do a new English translation if the first one was wrong.
That's not what we said.
Yeah. So they're going to release it in retail, fair enough. But the bit I don't like, and I think it's horrible for a franchise the size of Star Wars, is the fact that they're also going to do a Kickstarter campaign for 2 other versions of it. A collector's edition, which is going to have the same 2-volume hardcovers that will be available at retail, but will also include exclusive covers only available on Kickstarter, which is just a variant. Yeah. So you're kickstarting for a variant cover. Shocking. Second to that, they're doing a masterpiece edition, which will faithfully reproduce Tadaki's art at its original size in 2 volumes and include an auxiliary volume. So if you're a completist and you want everything, you have to get the masterpiece edition. And the only way to get it's through Kickstarter, which is basically going to mean giving the money to Dark Horse Comics a year up front.
I mean,
that
Brian,
sucks.
You're obviously a huge collector of this sort of thing. Is this a project that you would be interested in, or is this no?
It's an interesting project. I would like to have it. I'm not dying for it. It feels like it was a project deliberately announced for the Japanese market. And then they've kind of balked and said, oh yeah, but there's not a big enough market for it. Yeah. So we're going to announce it because it's really cool and Japan will love it. It's a great announcement for Celebration, but we're going to protect ourselves and make probably the most desirable element being the original size with the auxiliary volume, because you don't want 2/3 of a book, which you're going to get at retail. Yeah. You're getting the full book on Kickstarter. So it just feels trash way of doing it. It's the only way I can describe it. Carlos is a completist collector like I was before I gave it up, and he's saying it's the curse of being a completist. And it is, you're going to be forking out money probably a year in advance. You're going to have to get the collector's edition and the masterpiece edition to get all 3. Why am I financing Dark Horse Comics publishing?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you they're not paying a printer a year in advance.
They won't be, no. Definitely not.
And Mark Newbold also, he wants to pay money up front for a book when the book might never come out, which again is very true, because you just need to look at what's happening at Dark Horse and the layoffs at Dark Horse and the struggles that the parent company are having, because they didn't get the investment out of Saudi Arabia that they thought they were going to get, and they're kind of $2 billion in the red. I would not be giving money to that company up front, put it like that. And I've had my issues with other Star Wars authors who have announced projects on Kickstarter and many years, 6 years maybe later, still not published the book. Because of COVID, apparently.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It's a common problem in Star Wars on all platforms.
And as Chris points out, those that collect Hasbro have been paying in advance for ages. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing to have to fund billion-dollar organizations' cash flows.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be happening on a franchise like Star Wars. This is for tiny little franchises who are trying to find their mark in an industry. If you don't have faith that there's enough interest in this book, don't publish it. Or you take pre-orders and you print the number of copies to match the pre-orders and no more.
Yeah.
So it's you must pre-order this book. You don't have to pay the money. The money will get charged to your card at the time we ship it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. It should come down in favor of the consumer rather than these corporations. Definitely.
And then Chris calling it as well. It's funding projects for share price stability. Absolutely. That's no more than it is. And Dark Horse are a company that's definitely parent companies in financial distress. I would not be giving them money in this kind of thing because the print is dead, more so because most of the printing company, the publishing companies are printing in China. And you're now going to be probably facing tariffs to bring those books into America unless that industry adjusts very quickly. I think it's got very much got the potential to adjust very quickly to take care of that. But that's another factor to bring into this kind of thing. This kind of big book is going to be expensive for them to make, and I guess that's why they're doing the Kickstarter. It's but yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to money-making operations. All you have to do is pass go, and you get 200. Star Wars Monopoly. I don't know what you get in Star Wars. Do you get 200 credits? I'd like to think so.
What you did on the ones that came out back in the day, yeah.
The proper board games.
Yeah.
Let's check out the trailer. We'll maybe find out, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, that sucked. We never found out. Does anyone know the name of the bald guy from the Monopoly game? Because he's a bit like Thomas the Tank's Fat Controller, but I don't think you're allowed to call him the Fat Controller anymore.
He has got a name. Hang on.
Not a proper board game. That's definitely a comment from Matt Booker. Definitely. He's a proper gamer. Big Kev, I'm agreeing with this. Everything should be made to pre-order. Books, toys, Celebration logo T-shirts in adult sizes. 100%. What an absolute disaster that store was. And as Chris points out, you go to Kessel, go directly to Kessel, and do not pass go. And
you know what, Brian? He's got the most imaginative title. He's called Mr. Monopoly.
Yeah, Mr. Newball's just chimed in there. That sucks. Like, that really sucks. He must have had a different name than that.
Yeah, Johnny Cash.
There you go. As Big Kev also points out, to get 200 credits, you just sit next to Mark Newbold at a Sabak table whilst he's drinking. We found this out at during Celebration at the Virtual Cantina is playing Sabak with Mr. Newbold. He is an aggressive card player where he's got a drinking and the bar's free.
Is he? Yeah.
That's a better name. Uncle Pennybags. That's a good name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Newbold's suggesting that Mr. Monopoly is called Tony Gilroy or not. I'm not sure where that comment comes from, but we'll go with it. Milburn Pennybags. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one. Another thing that's weird, whilst we're still on games, is this. I don't understand. Don't understand Fortnite at all. It's weird.
No.
Let's just run the trailer because it's like I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You're not telling me anything other than that's fucked up. That's
It
just
looks like a
weird.
real trick.
Chris is saying that's a big thing in Gen Z. Father Trax saying you don't understand it because you aren't young. Everyone's talking about it on TikTok. Big Kev thinks Fortnite is the greatest game ever. And all I can say is I don't understand why there's a banana on the Death Star shooting people.
No.
I don't understand how Emperor Palpatine's twerking to Sabrina Carpenter. I don't get it. I don't understand.
And more importantly, we don't want to know.
This is a mashup mentality, capitalizing on Star Wars popularity in games that are close to demise. That's a fair comment, I think. I don't understand. I will never understand. I don't think I want to understand. It's weird. All I can note from that trailer was the guy that was dressed as a cow behind the bar. I once for Halloween dressed up as a cow and had a washing up glove filled with milk as my udders. And I have some very funny pictures in nightclubs from that night out. That's all I'm saying. You can use your own imagination.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark Newbold's my fave character is the banana. The banana is probably going to get its own spin-off film shortly. Yeah.
Sadly, probably true.
Not a fan of Fortnite. There was a Darth Jar Jar dressed up at Comic-Con Liverpool this weekend. And he was probably out robbing hubcaps after the event. That's just a shocking stereotypical assumption, but I made it. So there we go. There we go. Paul, maybe you could escort Grandpa Brian to the home.
I think I might have to, Kev. Yeah.
Should we keep going? Should we keep going on the news front? Because it's good. We haven't got much more before we get cancelled. Lost showrunner Carlton Cuse and his son Nick are developing a new Star Wars TV project. An old friend of mine, Carlton Cuse, is, in fact. The duo is in early development on a Star Wars series for Lucasfilm, sources tell the Hollywood Reporter, so plenty of time for them to get the job, much like his former showrunning partner Damon Lindelof, who worked on the Rey film. I'm a big fan of Carlton Cuse, and he is a massive Star Wars fan, I can tell you that. Before we move on, the character is called Peely. The banana is called Peely. I'm supposed to care about this game. And Mark's also timed that Robin Hubcaps is a character in Fortnite. That's exactly the comment I was making. He's from the Liverpool area.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Carlton Cuse is
Certainly
an
feels like it's been
absolutely
going on a
massive
fortnight.
Star Wars fan, like obsessive Star Wars fan. And
yeah,
he would be the right kind of person to put on a Star Wars TV show. He did great work on Lost, great personality as well, very engaged with the fandom. Don't know his son Nick, don't know much about Nick or what Nick's worked on before or whether he's just a Nepo BB. But yeah, I'd be excited for Carlton Cuse to be working on Star Wars. But I was excited with the thought of Damon Lindelof working on Star Wars, and that didn't go to plan either.
exactly. Exactly. This just smacks of all those announcements that have been made over the last few years that never actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I agree with Jonathan. Liked what he did with Lost in the Colony series. Chris is pointing out that if only the 14-year-olds were away from their games to listen to us now. I'm going to point out, and it's something I mentioned in the Father Tracks group chat earlier in the week, that a big problem for the Mandalorian and Grogu is the fact that GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto 6, is going to release now just a few days after the Mandalorian Grogu hits cinemas, which means those that buy the premium gold luxury edition will get access a few days earlier. And a whole generation of 18 to 40-year-old male demographics, being sexist here, but that's the demographic of GTA, as well as many female players that is really aimed at the male demographic, 18 to 40, are going to be so obsessively playing that game, they will not leave their basements to go and see The Mandalorian and Grogu, and it's going to impact heavily on the return of that film.
And also, they'll have shelled out a lot of money to play it.
Yeah. Big Kev, did you see Lost? Oh, he's one of these people, oh, season 6 sucked. No, you just can't watch good TV. It was brilliant. It was brilliantly crafted. And he should be the exact kind of person running Star Wars TV. So I'm going to ignore you. Moving on. Halloween is coming later this year, as it does every year. And we can go out and knock on people's doors and get sweets, which in some neighbourhoods you can get all year round, but you just have to be careful of not entering the house. Tales from the Nightlands is coming from Cavan Scott, who has taken it upon himself to be the horror writer for Star Wars. And even though this one's coming out on the 3rd of September, it is their Halloween special. And it's going to come with Artis Sully and Vincenzo Riccardi as well for issue 2, and Robert Hack on issue 3. So a 3-issue series following on from previous adventures such as Tales from Vader's Castle and Tales from the Rancor Pit. And as Carla says, excited for any Cavan Scott horror. This is kind of one of the highlights of Star Wars comic publishing at the moment. And I'm glad that Cavan's kind of been given the luxury to do this every year. And it's Star Wars comics, and especially Dark Horse's original run, pre-Marvel 2012 days, was great, and they experimented. And this is about the only Star Wars comics that now experiment. And so it's always a highlight of the year because it's always something weird and different. There we go. Taking sweets from a house is okay. If it's from a van, it's not okay. That's a good point. Children, if you're watching, feel free to take sweets from vans. I said it's okay.
I feel like we need a 1970s public information film.
We do. As Carlos has pointed out, when they announce it for the 3rd of September for Dark Horse, that normally means that they'll eventually get around to releasing it before the 31st October. So it's probably a good idea they're releasing it early. The mobility factor apparently dictates the creepiness of it. I'm really immobile at the moment because I'm in a lot of pain. So, yeah, you can get sweeties from me if you want. It's okay. Charlie says... There we go.
Charlie says.
We're a all-round educational show, Paul.
Well, we are.
We've covered a lot of ground tonight.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground. We should just be thankful that we weren't talking about Andor, because I've got lots to say about
Save it.
Betrayal of Imperials, let's just say.
Yeah. Save it for the review.
And as Chris has pointed out, children are all glued to Fortnite. The warning's gone to the wrong demographic. Adults don't take sweeties from children. That's what I'm saying, because they're all watching Fortnite. Apparently, you could watch Tales from the Underground yesterday. Was it yesterday? Exclusively live within Fortnite. Yeah, nobody watched it. Came out on Disney Plus today.
I lost you then.
No, I can still hear you. I just can't see you. So Tales from the Underworld was released early inside Fortnite. So if you were sad, you could go to an island and sit and watch it inside the game.
That's just random.
Yeah. I also recall the entire plot of the Emperor returning in The Rise of Skywalker was announced inside Fortnite as somehow he returned.
Let's not go there.
Shocking question. Why is the sweets bucket always empty in front of Mr. Cameron's house, Mummy?
Mummy.
Jonathan started watching Tales of the Underworld. What do you think, Jonathan? I have an issue with it being called the Underworld because bounty hunting was a legitimate employment as far as I'm concerned. There was guilds and unions and everything. So what makes it underworldy?
Yeah. I'm going to give that a watch after.
We'll get your thoughts next week.
Yes.
Somehow Brian's van returned. One of my highlights of Celebration was the number of people that asked to get their photo taken with me, Paul. Because
really?
I had a hat that said, I should go and get the hat. Bear with me. I'll be back. Entertain the crowd.
Ding, 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 ding. Brian will be back shortly. So, do you like Star Wars? You want a sweet? I hope this hat isn't too far away. I'm in no mood for this.
I'm back.
Oh, excellent.
Make Palpatine somehow return again.
It's the Trump campaign you never knew you needed.
Make Palpatine somehow return again. It was incredibly popular at Star Wars Celebration. I got a lot of initial dirty looks.
Yeah.
And then they read it, and then they wanted their photo taken with me.
So is this you delving into cosplay again? I mean,
this is me sort of delving halfway into cosplay. I thought it was ingenious. It wound up the right people.
Did you take your Krennic cape with you?
I didn't. No, I should have. I should have went Krennic cake and hat. Might have been too much.
That and the Krennic cape would have been superb. Yeah.
Jonathan, he's not sure. He's done the first episode of Underworld so far. Not entirely sure. Okay. Mark saying popular equals divisive. The Emperor being brought back doesn't upset me, Kev. I love Palpatine. I did get upset at the number of people that said they liked my BB-8 shirt and my Ahsoka shirt. Go away, people like that.
Were you not watching them?
Yeah. So no, my Palpatine hat was very popular with people. One person complained. Really? They weren't happy. They did not find it funny, they told me. And I just told them that, that's comedy. Not everybody laughs at the same thing.
Were they being serious with you?
They were being deadly serious. They had purple hair and nose rings. I don't know if that has any significance, but we'll call them for that.
Yeah, and I think you quite rightly labelled them as a they. So well done. Yeah.
I was being diplomatic. On that note, should we call it? It's gone 10-10.
Yeah. Your pain meds are wearing off.
Yeah. What upsets me about Palps coming back was him being on an arcade game style grab claw.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's a good point.
It was very odd.
I loved it when I got told off. I loved it. Let's promote our content. Let's promote our content because that's what people want to hear before we go. First up, get all the latest news on fantatracks.com every single day with all the Star Wars Lucasfilm news covering films, television, collecting, fashion, gaming, literature, music and art with interviews, event coverage, podcasts and reviews.
Paul McHugh will be busy sending stories in, and if Mark can be bothered, he'll post them on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, X and TikTok.
You can also check out Fantatracks Radio. Search for Fantatracks Radio on your podcatcher of choice. Mr. Newbold at this point in time is typing furiously into the comments what's coming up.
I hope so.
We can now exclusively reveal that this week Making Tracks Reaction Chat, I'm assuming that is going to be out midweek, looking at episodes 7 to 9 of Andor. You can also check out Fantatracks TV on YouTube, interviews with the cast of Andor. Check out this week, we're going to have Hasbro from Star Wars Celebration, including lots of little other interview pieces from across the event. And you can always catch us live on Facebook, Twitch and X. Good Morning Tatooine is here every Sunday at 9 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. New York. And we'll have Jabba's Court most Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and there will be live streaming gaming at some point very soon.
You said that 6 months ago.
I know, but you know, soon's subjective.
Yeah.
On Friday, there's going to be a new episode of Collecting Tracks looking at Star Wars chocolate products. Now that's a joy. That should be done on video, and you should get to sample the Star Wars chocolate products. Can we do that next week, Paul?
Yeah, let's do that. As long as they're not from 1982 or anything like that.
It wasn't just people at Celebration commenting on his shirt. It was random Japanese people on the train.
And they don't speak on the train, so it must have been offensive.
Just stare at their phones. It was freaky. It was. The worst experience I had in Japan was I got the experience of the train squeeze.
Oh.
And I was right into someone's armpit. It's the only way to describe it.
Nice.
Yeah. That was the one big negative of Japan. That and the food.
It certainly
struggled
was
with the food.
Armpit. But no good food.
When Fanta Arcade was announced, LucasArts were making 8-bit games. That's true. We'll be playing 8-bit games on Fanta Arcade. Don't you worry.
Fantastic. I'll get my Sega Game Gear out the loft.
Definitely. Paul, it's been good being back.
Well,
we've survived the whole show. We haven't been taken off air yet. We've only had one negative dislike.
Yes, that was from George Lucas.
Hammer the like button if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, the highlight of Japan was egg and tuna sandwiches. That's what I survived on for the fortnight.
Really?
And there is a video going the rounds of me and Big Kev touching tips.
Whoa.
Yeah, there we go. Jonathan's headed off now at that comment. I think that's a good time to go. Yeah. We're going to go as well. Paul, it's been good back. We've survived. If we're still allowed to broadcast, we'll be back next Sunday.
It's good to see you again anyway, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go and take some more pain medication.
You go. And go for it,
come offline maybe.
Go on, sign off. As you always do.
So it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him and my internet. Thank you.
Good night.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on fantatracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Fantatracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Fantatracks TV to be alerted to new content. and to be a part of our live shows.